Christopher Cut. Hello, everyone. Greetings. Welcome to ICMCP Engage webinar titled Millennial Minutes, Transitioning to Cybersecurity. I'm your host, Christopher Cutts, Director of Membership here at ICMCP Atlanta, and I have with me my president, Cassandra Dacus of ICMCP Atlanta, who will facilitate our question and answer. The focus of this webinar is to have a conversation with young cybersecurity professionals and discuss their roadmap into cybersecurity. I have three awesome panelists here with me today, and I will let them introduce themselves. You can start, Shaheda.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shaheda. I'm currently a decision science analyst contractor at a military bank, and I live in the Atlanta area, and I am super excited to be speaking with you guys today.
Nice. Mike, you can go.
Hi, my name is Michael Williams. Currently, I am a monitor tech at Emory Midtown Hospital, so I work in healthcare. I currently reside in the Atlanta area, but I'm open to opportunities outside of the Atlanta area as well.
Nice. Fortune?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Onwuzuruike. I'm a security program manager at Microsoft, and I currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia.
Nice. So with no further ado, we're going to just dive into the questions. We understand that cybersecurity is a big topic here within Atlanta and just across the board within the world, I'll say. Can any of you who want to start, can you discuss your why and a brief summary of why you chose cybersecurity and your path within it? Or do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that. So the reason why I chose cybersecurity is because I saw the outlook of the future. I was recently actually interested in data analytics, but my first job opportunity straight out of college, once I graduated from Georgia State University, was an associate security application analyst. And that's what really opened my eyes to all the cyber attacks that healthcare professionals or healthcare industry faces, and a lot of the different environments or industry, what they face. And so I saw, one, a good outlook of cybersecurity, the future was bright. Two, the pay was pretty good. So you can't complain about the pay. And three, I saw longevity. I saw a longevity because these attackers are just getting more analytical, more skilled, more diverse, more sophisticated. So I saw a good outlook on it, and I saw that it was a need for smart people like you and me to try to figure out how to overcome these challenges.
Nice. Shaheda?
So my why started in 2018 after I graduated with my undergrad degree. It was in Spanish and international business. And when I graduated, I felt like, now what? Because I didn't feel like I was complete. So I decided to check into grad school, and I was super interested in the technology environment. So I looked into it and I saw cybersecurity, and it really intrigued me because it gives you a sense of responsibility for the data, and it gives you an ability to be a driver of change and monitor all types of digital assets.
Nice. Mike?
Okay, for me, it's been pretty much working in healthcare at the point where I'm looking for a change, and I'm looking for something to challenge myself with as far as different career opportunities. With cybersecurity, being the person in my department that everybody comes to for basic IT stuff really sparked my interest. I got to talking to a couple of friends, and they encouraged me to sign up for a cybersecurity boot camp at Georgia Tech. So once I did that, it kind of opened my eyes to a lot of the possibilities of cybersecurity, and it seemed like a very interesting path, one that I would like to pursue.
Nice. So I've heard Georgia State, Georgia Tech have been very influential in all of our lives, it seems, with driving our focus within cybersecurity. So what has been the drive behind you all, you go into those institutions and just overall the steps you've taken to grow yourself professionally within that space?
I think it takes a combination of different things. I think these questions may be asked later on when we talk about professional networking, joining professional organizations, such as, ISACA, ISC squared, HIM, stuff of that nature. And On top of that, besides networking, I think it goes beyond the will of one to learn when to do better for yourself. So when you look at it from different perspective of all the cloud certifications, cloud is a huge space. So taking the time to self-study for some of the associate cloud technologies such as Azure 900 or AWS Cloud Practitioner, just to get your feet wet and understand the terminology. So I would say one, certification investment, and two, networking within professional organization.
Nice. Michael Shaheda?
Yeah, I can definitely add to that because post my master's degree, I decided that I wanted to get a graduate certificate at Georgia Tech because I felt I needed some of those data skills just to expand my learning and programming skills to help me become a well-rounded, more qualified technology professional. So it's definitely important to keep learning and exploring the opportunities like certifications and trainings. Anything you can do that can help you gain more knowledge is definitely something I follow as well.
Gotcha. Mike?
As far as my professional development, as soon as I started the boot camp at Georgia Tech, I had to look outside of what I was doing inside of the boot camp and see how I can better myself and how I can separate myself from the other people that were in my program. So one of the things I did, I went out and got the AZ 900 certification. I got the Amazon Web Service Cloud Practitioner certification, and I also got Splunk Fundamental certification as well, on top of CompTIA, the A+ certification. So even outside of what I was doing in the boot camp, I made sure to, sharpen my skills in other areas, just to make myself try to set myself apart and give myself the best foundation possible. Just like you said, learning the terminology and a lot of stuff. It's just, having the basics to when you go in a room and talk with people, you actually know what you're talking about. It's half the battle right there. So trying to just give myself the best shot.
Gotcha. So I know you all mentioned cloud. Why is that a great focus for us now as up-and-coming cybersecurity professionals to focus on in that space?
I think all assets and resources are moving from on-prem to on-cloud. You see a lot of organizations, and you still have some organizations such as healthcare just lagging behind, but eventually in the future, you'll see pretty much all organizations, if not already, majority of these organizations and industries are already moving to cloud. It's more cost efficient, it's scalable, there's a lot of resources, it's just cost effective. It just makes the most sense. So that's where the future is, and that's where majority of these organizations are going to.
Nice.
Yeah, the great migration to cloud services in the professional and personal space is really the way of the future. It doesn't even make sense to have on-prem for most things, because, like you said, the cloud is so scalable. You can, set firewalls and your system administration stuff. A lot of stuff is streamlined through the cloud, which is a lot harder to do. It takes a lot more manpower and man hours doing it on-prem as well.
Absolutely. Shaheda, you have any content?
Yeah, I would also agree. Like the past year and a half, 2 years that we've been working from home, having a cloud system opposed to an on-prem, it's allowed people to, expand their boundaries, not only be where the office is headquarters. We can access it from anywhere in the US or even outside of the US. So it's definitely something organizations are heavily thinking of and implementing every day. And I always hear this is moving to the cloud, this is changing. So it's definitely a fast-paced moving environment for sure.
Nice. You just hit on something, Shaheda. I was going to, within the third questioning is understanding working from home. COVID was a thing, right? It's still a thing, right? How has your job search? I know some of us have been in our careers for roughly a couple of years as we're navigating through our roadmap. How has your job hunting been thus far? And I have another question, but I'll wait to the end. But how has your job hunting been thus far with trying to find a role or solidify a role within cybersecurity?
So for me, cybersecurity has been a tough industry to crack into. So currently I'm not directly in cybersecurity. I work in the data analytics side.
Mhm.
However, it's heavily influenced by cybersecurity principles because we need to protect our data. We need to make sure I'm in banking, military banking. So I need to make sure those clients' information and customer information are not being exposed to hackers. Insurance policies or bank accounts or numbers like that. We need to put proper security rules on that data to make sure no one else can access it. And then also from the security aspect of working from home, we need to make sure our work environment is like a secured area where outside influences can't access it, or we're using like a VPN or a secure network to access our work stuff, because maybe we don't even have a work computer. We're using VM for our work stuff. So definitely there's, even if you're not directly like a security analyst, every single thing that you do in your job is heavily influenced in security, and like passwords and making sure that you have proper timeout settings and all of that. So
Mhm.
it's definitely a very, very influential and useful skill to have, even if you don't directly work in security. That knowledge is invaluable.
Absolutely. Fortune, what has been a driving force with your interview skills? I guess your levels of success and failures with interviewing overall, with getting to the place where you are now with Microsoft.
To be honest, trial and error. uh, Trial and error. I mean, you figure out that you may be lacking in something, you don't get discouraged. So you just figure out the gaps or identify your gaps during the interview that you may have failed in. And then you study and you study that content. I think there's like, you study that content. I think there's a question I was asking me about key vaults within the cloud. I had no clue what that was when I first interviewed for a big tech company like Google or Amazon. So I studied, I brushed up on my skills. I reevaluated and assessed my own knowledge. And then when that time came around, I could speak up highly about it on my next interview. So there's always another shot that comes around the corner. You just have to be prepared for that. So really just identifying your gaps, knowing what your weak areas are, but also playing up to your strength on your strong areas. So the areas that I may be strong in, maybe vulnerability management or cyber risk management, stuff of that nature. So talk it up to your strength in the interview and go from there.
Gotcha. Mike?
Like I said, for me, I'm just at this point, I'm just trying to break in as well. I've gone on a couple interviews, but nothing's panned out so far. I say once I got my Security Plus certification, I figured it would be a lot easier, but it really, I can't lie. At some points, it's been discouraging as far as applying for jobs.
Mhm.
But I'm also trying to keep, my skills sharp. I'm on tryhackme.com and, maintaining, my skills and learning new things to add to my toolbox. Because it's not something I've invested this much time and money and energy into it. It's
Absolutely.
not something that I'm just going to give up on. Also, like I said, I'm in a position now where I don't have to jump at the first job because I also have a job in another industry, where I'm okay, I'm secure with that. But like I said, it's just I've over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've got back applying daily for different jobs and stuff like that, and reaching out to people and seeing what avenues I can explore and stuff like that.
Nice. I will say something that I've learned for myself starting out. I picked a discipline, and my initial discipline was GRC and being in that space because I feel that that's a very dynamic space within cybersecurity that's really needed. I know Shaheda mentioned about policies, and I think Portia mentioned about it as well. Having a level of compliance set within these organizations is what streams cybersecurity. You have the individuals who support it, but I wanted to focus on an area where I felt like within my team, it controls the overall aspect of the organization as a whole and just the infrastructure. I know we mentioned, I'm sorry, I know we mentioned the cloud, but is there anything else you guys want to add to how you guys have focused on your job hunting aspects or your skills? Like I know, what have you done for us looking on LinkedIn, anything dealing with Indeed? Like what's your cadence when it comes to applying for different roles within cybersecurity?
One of my cadence when I first was looking for a job or when I desired to have the job that I wanted is that I was trying to find like-minded professionals that were in the position of where I wanted to be at. So I connected with them on LinkedIn, and I won't say I stalked them, but I looked at their profile and looked at their journey to have a better understanding of how they got to where they were. So it provided me a little bit of a roadmap. So that roadmap made my roadmap a little bit more clear. Although we all have our own different journeys, although my journey may not look the same as Chris' journey or Michael's or whatever the case may be, we all have an idea of where we want to go. So then I just really mocked what their background was looking like. And I may have tweaked it here. I may have focused on GRC, or I may have focused on, getting a graduate information security certificate from Kennesaw. It just all depends. But I just really saw people I wanted to connect with, started networking, get my feet wet, and also asked them for advice here. If they replied to my message, cool. If not, cool. Either way, I gave it a shot to at least get some insight to see where to further my career.
Nice. Anyone else want to add any context to that?
Yeah, I'll add something. I've been reading some of the comments and questions coming through, and one of the best pieces of advice for the job search that I got, that it is hard for everyone. So a lot of time we think that, oh, it's so hard for me, but that is definitely not the case. It's hard for everyone, and it's just, especially living in like the Atlanta metro area, where we have so many great schools and so many great students applying for the same roles, how we can like stand out, maybe look a little bit outside of your boundary. Now with the availability to remote work, there's so many different metros and so many different options available for us now. So that's one way. And another thing I would just suggest is work on yourself and improve your own brand. Like when I was actively searching for a job, I was super active on LinkedIn, posting original content like 3 to 5 times a week, just to make sure my network and any recruiters or anyone out there will see that, hey, this is a person of knowledge, or this person is actively learning these skills that we're looking for. So definitely focus on the companies and finding a career just to step in, but also develop yourself and grow yourself and learn for yourself. So that would be my approach to the job hunt.
Nice. Mike, you want to add any context to that?
Yeah, so one of the best things that I've learned throughout my job search is one, find out who the recruiters are. If you're on LinkedIn, find out who the recruiters are, find out who's
Nice.
posting these jobs, and contact them directly. The traction that I have gotten with different positions that I've applied for has been directly through talking, hitting up recruiters, and asking them about the position. A lot of the recruiters, they're not in the technical space to be able to answer questions
Absolutely.
specifically about the cybersecurity, but they're going to forward it to the hiring manager that does and can get you into a conversation with them, or forward your email, your resume to them. Second, which is one of the things that I was told in my cybersecurity boot camp, but I didn't do it initially, was to reach out with people that I already work with, reach out to my boss, reach out to other supervisors at the hospital that I work at. And over the last month or so, I had reached out to my boss and asked her if she knew anybody in the IT department, and she's forwarded my resume 3 or 4 times to different people within the industry and within the organization that I currently work at now. So I actually have a interview coming up next week for a position, which I've been applying on our internal website for years and never got a call back, email back, or anything. And within a week of her forwarding an email, I got 2 responses back. So I mean, that opened up doors immediately. Just by asking, and just by, I said, networking from now that I've realized networking is a big part of the game. People, when we apply for jobs, like you're 1 in 120, a lot of stuff is probably being filtered out, through bots and stuff like that. Because the HR recruiters, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're seeing 500-600, applications coming across their desk. So getting in, if you can get somebody personal, somebody to vouch for you, or just take an interest in what you're doing, I think that would help a lot.
Nice. So I asked a question that I was going to hold it back, but so since COVID has happened and we've all been working from home, some of us have. I know, Mike, you've been actually within the hospitals helping out patients, but is there a focus for you all? I know for myself, while working from home within that first year in 2020, it made me really like being at home and being in that space of working from home and creating my own little workspace and office. I know for myself, I told myself for my next role that I wanted to work from home, and that was my focus. And then I found an opportunity to where I'm working from home remotely entirely. And it's been a great opportunity for me. Do you guys look for roles now since COVID has happened where you're solely working from home, or are you willing to go back into the office?
I would prefer working from home. I've really enjoyed it. I think it's great to have that time to, actually focus on your work and that freedom to explore, your company's documentation and look through and like really learn at your own pace. And when you need help, reach out. Currently looking, I'm just applying for any role that kind of fits my background and fits my expectation, because even if you don't accept the opportunity, the fact that you get that opportunity to interview, like you always got to keep interviewing, even if you don't accept it, even if it goes terribly wrong, because then you can, like Fortune mentioned before, pick up on your weaknesses and find ways to improve and constantly see maybe if you're talking to someone and they have a different opportunity that fits you better, because the people who are like talking to you to hire you, they just most times they don't only have one role, they have multiple roles. So even if you feel like this may not fit completely and they want to talk to you, talk to them. If anything, you're gaining the experience and you're getting that ability to try and talk to someone, and maybe they'll give some advice too of this is the way you should look instead.
Nice. Guys, you have any context to the question? As far as working from home and looking for opportunities from working from home, or does it matter to you all?
For me, like I'm open to anything at this point. Also, one of the things that the career services through the boot camp that I attended, the DC metro area and the Virginia area is huge for cybersecurity. That's where a lot of jobs are being posted, and a lot of people that have been in the boot camps as well have gone up there to get jobs and to get their foot in the industry. So originally I wasn't really open to leaving, but for the right opportunity at this point, I'll look at it. Or if it's one of those things where you can do remote for a couple of days a week, or maybe fly in, once a week or once every 2 weeks or something like that. But in the Atlanta metro area, I'm definitely willing to work in the office. I've been working. I haven't done remote, so I've been working in the office for the last year and a half since COVID started. So I don't have any apprehension about it.
Okay, Fortune.
A hybrid of both is fine with me. I like the opportunity to work from home, give you that flexibility, and then work in the office, having that interaction with your coworkers. So the combination of both is always a good fix. I don't ever want to overdo one area or another.
Okay, awesome. So now let's move to levels of exposure. I know there are several professional organizations, and ICMCP is one, in which I found to be a great asset to me. Also, initially I joined ISACA, as well as joined ISSA as well, and meeting different professionals there to guide me, as we mentioned before, on different paths. But we all know that you have to really create your own path within cybersecurity. You can only take advice from other professionals, but really you have to guide yourself with how you want to navigate. Can you guys give me give the audience rather, what you guys have done just to gain that level of exposure within the cybersecurity space, and really to brand yourself and market yourself within cybersecurity?
So I think you named some good organizations such as ISACA, ISC Squared are the two top certifications that come to mind. Of course, the certification, of course, this organization, ICMCP as well, is also a good organization that I recently joined. But on top of that, I think the organization that really helped me was because I had a healthcare IT, healthcare security background, was HIMSS. I had the opportunity to join HIMSS a lot and do a lot of different things around HIMSS. Since I have a healthcare background, they had like a cybersecurity command center at their national conference and at these different local conferences. So it allows us to have the exposure to meet with different healthcare security leaders and professionals. And actually, that's actually where I actually got my second job from at Piedmont Healthcare, from just going to a local conference in HIMSS at the Cobb Galleria. So that's where one thing led to another thing.
Awesome. Shaheda?
Yeah, so I'm sure Chris remembers we were graduate students and we were so active in these clubs. Like during the time in grad school, ISACA, ISSA, just being a part of the community and letting them know that you're here and you're learning and you're like the next generation. And I would always be going to those conferences, and it was so fun because when you were a student, you could get those student discounts and get in and enjoy and meet people. It was a lot of fun. And then now that the pandemic came, it kind of, stopped that in-person stuff. And so now we have to look towards, LinkedIn or joining these virtual webinars and just talking to people and getting to know them. And it's really important to remember to keep in mind that you're representing yourself, and that's the first thing. Everyone else you network and talk to, maybe they'll give you value and insights, maybe they won't, but most importantly, keep your standards high, keep learning and keep exploring, and recruiters and companies will see that and they'll approach you for that drive to always explore technology.
Mike.
ISACA is the only one that I've really through the boot camp. We were encouraged to join ISACA. I'm actually looking at HIMSS now. Like I literally just pulled it up on the website now. I'm gonna definitely join that. As somebody that's currently working in the healthcare field, I think that'll be very beneficial. Like I said, I'm open to everything now. So I've been looking around as far as also joining this organization as well. So I know I need to brand myself better and to network better. So that's been one of the things that I've been focusing on the last couple months.
Gotcha. In terms of future goals, how are you all tailoring those future goals? I know we talked about interviewing, we talked about different steps you've done for professional development. But what's your next step? Like, well, I'll say, this is a two-part question. What is your end goal, right? And what are you doing now to get yourself to that place? Anyone?
I think I can start. Eventually, I would love to be a director of a department, maybe within the next 20 years or so. My next short-term goal is now I'm more in the analytics, like visualization, after the data is processed, that type of role. I'm looking into maybe like something like data engineering or more data science, where I can, be more one-on-one with the data and process it and explore it before I get to the endpoint. So that's something that I'm personally working on right now.
Okay, nice. Fortune?
I think for me, it's twofold. My goal changes pretty frequently, especially since I recently just got to Microsoft, because I didn't know when I was gonna get here, but I knew eventually one day I would. I didn't think I was gonna get here this quick. So now I think my goal came from becoming a CISO, which is like a Chief Information Security Officer, executive level, or executive director, or vice president around the security space. But I mean, that's the industry goal around there, landing an executive space within cybersecurity. But I think the second fold of my goal is really to go back to school and become a professor. I find joy, I find a joy and a good feeling of impacting the next generation of cybersecurity or technology professionals. And I just think being an educator is one of the most noble professions. And I think being an educator within the tech space and helping minorities grow out their careers is also a great achievement and a great way of how to build the next generation of cybersecurity leaders.
Nice. Mike?
So currently, my goal is to get into the cybersecurity in the cloud space. I'm a cloud engineer, security engineer. So like I said, I see how the world is changing and everything is moving to the cloud. I think that would be the most interesting for me, and that's what interests me the most. Um, Eventually, like I would also, if I can get to the point as well, I would like to teach as well. One of the things I've done for my department, I created a 20-point slide on just basic cybersecurity knowledge, for our unit. As far as, like you said, changing passwords and not clicking on emails, phishing scams, awareness, and stuff like that. So one of the things my boss allowed me to do was present it to the unit. So we have basic cybersecurity training. So basically, I'm the cybersecurity training officer for the unit. And I enjoy it. I enjoy teaching people. Like I said, I do this all the time with my coworkers. A lot of my older coworkers have no clue about anything in technology. So I'm taking the time to, go through as far as, their, like I said, their passwords, emails, phishing scams, stuff like that. Also my parents. I can't tell you how many times my dad has been hit with ransomware and phishing scams. So
Yeah.
like I said, just teaching people and increasing overall knowledge on cybersecurity, because like I said, everything in the world is being placed online, and for scammers and hackers, there are so many ways that people expose themselves and are vulnerable. But it's a lot of the things are easy to combat if you know the basics. But most people don't know the basics.
That's interesting. You said, I know you fortunate, and also Michael, I know Shaheda as well. I should focus on the professor's aspect, and I actually teach KSU currently. So I actually, just to give some context behind it, I taught intro to IS as well as managing information systems. And the passion of mine has been to teach. Initially, when I started in 2020 during COVID, I started out as an IT auditor as well as a professor at Kennesaw. It's been a great experience with being on the other side. And a lot of people don't really think about that. It's one thing for us to sit in those classes, as we spoke about Georgia Tech and Georgia State, Kennesaw as well, for our education, furthering our education. But it's another thing to actually be on the other side, and you have to teach the information that you just learned to someone else. But it's been very enriching, because you are responsible for someone else's life. And impacting someone else's life, and being that individual, being that person, as we mentioned before, about meeting different people professionally and guiding them on the path to success. So it's been a very great opportunity for me, and I welcome you all to try that, because it's different. It's a lot of work, but it teaches you to work cross-functionally, but also be flexible. And I think that's something that within cybersecurity, you have to become flexible in everything that you do, especially furthering your career within it. What advice could you leave or give individuals who want to move into your space? Like, how should they navigate into? Because I know we all in different paths. And data, we're in program management. I'm in GRC and security risk. Mike is moving in that space as well. What advice do you have to individuals who want to, who are currently, will say they work for retail management, and they say, hey, I want to move out of this space I'm in, but how do I do this? What are my next steps? Can you guys share some insight on that?
I know for me, the first step is just to actually just do it. Like, I had been contemplating doing it for 2 or 3 years, and when COVID hit, it gave me the opportunity. You know what? Just do it. Like, you're not doing anything else right now. The world is shut down. You know what I'm saying? Give it a shot. You say you wanted to do this, like, give it a shot. I've been contemplating doing it since 2017, 2018, and once I did it, I was glad that I did it.
Gotcha.
But like I said, you just got to get over that initial hurdle, and taking a leap of faith, and investing in yourself. I've done a lot of investing in myself, because I know what my end goal is.
Nice.
So like I said, just getting over that and getting the ball rolling, I think, is one of the biggest things.
Nice. Fortune, Shaheda?
Yeah, I definitely agree to just do it is great advice. Actually, Chris inspired me to get into the professor stuff and teach as well. I'll be teaching a course at Georgia State in the Newton campus, which still has some seats available. So if you guys are a Georgia State student and want to learn more, definitely I would love to have you in the class, and we can learn from each other all the time. But it is hard work because for me, I had to create that curriculum all on my own, from the syllabus to the lectures to the exams. So it's a lot. You think you know stuff, but when you're trying to like put your thoughts together, it's like the amount of research and the books that you're reading and interacting with. It's just a great way to keep learning. And my top advice is just to, keep learning and keep trying. And it is hard for everyone, but when we keep focused, eventually we'll get that right opportunity. And just don't give up. I know some days are really hard and it feels like you're never going to make it, but keep investing in yourself. No dollar is wasted on learning. So even if you're learning something in data or cloud, or even something outside of it, maybe you're learning Scrum or Agile methodologies, it's all useful in the work environment. And also invest some time in your hobbies. We can't always be thinking about technology. So if you like gardening, exploring, taking a hike, just do that as well and invest some time in that mental wellness. It's really helpful so that you can be an overall holistic person and a candidate that people can get along with and find insight from.
Nice. Fortune?
I would say, I mean, it's a lot of different pieces to that question. It depends on where that person is. So if they're in retail space, my best advice, just from the scenario that you gave me, is probably go back to school. It doesn't have to be for a master's. If you don't want to add too much debt into you or into your you don't want to add too much debt into your finances. But I'll probably recommend going back to school. I'll probably recommend either going to a graduate certificate program, which is a little bit more cheaper, or the boot camp at Georgia Tech. Or I may even recommend maybe looking at some key certifications. But I think the number one go-to is probably getting that formal education from a university, whether if it's Georgia Tech, Kennesaw, or Georgia State. If it's getting a master's in cybersecurity or if it's getting a graduate certificate in cybersecurity, either one of those two would probably be my first step.
Nice. So I know Clark Atlanta started their cybersecurity program as well. Do you all feel you will be where you are now without those institutions? That's an awesome question. Do you feel like where you are now, have they supported you through this process, or do you feel like you wouldn't be where you are without these institutions giving you the guidance that you need? Anyone can answer the question.
Yeah, I'll go. I don't think I'll be where I was at. But besides without these two institutions that I joined, Georgia State and Kennesaw State. One, because Georgia State just gave me a lot of exposure to a lot of different professionals. Kennesaw State gave me a lot of exposure to executives and paying for these conferences to go to and reimburse me for these certifications. And then just putting that degree or putting that piece of paper into my profile. I think those two combinations, or those two schools and those combinations that they all helped me with, allowed me to advance my career.
Nice. Shaheda?
Yeah, Georgia State, I did my undergrad and master's at Georgia State. The Robinson School of Business, the professional, like you're hand in hand with professionals, and that experience and that business insight is invaluable. And then when I went to Georgia Tech, I got the other side of it of, the hardcore computer programming, the data part, which I felt was invaluable. Now that I'm actually in the work environment, I'm realizing how much these institutions really helped me shape an understanding of business. One thing I've learned that is, yeah, we are tech professionals, but we're all working in a business. So it's really important to understand how businesses work. And if you can't find a job, volunteer at a nonprofit organization. That will give you direct information of how businesses work. So there's always ways to keep learning and just explore it and gain those knowledge.
Gotcha. Mike?
I know for myself, I did my undergraduate at Georgia State as well. I didn't take advantage while I was at Georgia State of the resources that I should have. When I started looking into the cybersecurity field, I started looking at different certifications, A plus certification, Network plus certification. I started studying for these things on my own. but I didn't have the focus, and I just needed some guidance. So once I got in the boot camp at Georgia Tech, it gave me the guidance that I needed to be able to focus on what I needed to actually learn and what was applicable to the field, what was applicable in the real world situation. Without that, I wouldn't have had any idea. Like I wouldn't know what Splunk was, or a security analyst, or a SOC team. I wouldn't know what any of these things mean.
Gotcha.
It gave me the terminology, and it gave me something. When you're reading something and you're reading material to study for a test, it's different than actually using tools that are used in the real world, um, and used actually in the field. So now, like I said, when I see stuff or when I talk to people, I know what it is, or even if I don't know what it is, I now have the knowledge to go figure out what it is and to find some type of training, or to go on YouTube and look at a video to, how I can figure it out myself.
Okay.
And using GitLab and stuff like that, and GitHub as well.
I have two more questions. What is the importance of having a supportive manager and a supportive team in the workplace, and how does that propel your career within cybersecurity?
It's very important. I mean, even right now at Microsoft, I think one of the first conversations I had with my hiring manager, who's based in Seattle, Redmond, at the headquarters of Microsoft, his name is Kerry. One of the first conversations that he had with me was just letting me know how he's here to support me, and also, you know, just announcing what's really in the room, the elephants in the room. I'm the only, African American minority on the team. There's full well a lot of different other people who don't look like me. So having that open dialect or dialogue, that conversation to acknowledge that, hey, this, if you ever feel uncomfortable or you feel, something isn't swaying your way or something seems unfair, let me know. So I think one, it's good to have a supportive manager that understands the battle that minorities usually face. That's one. Two, is also good to have somebody that supports your career and your career goal. Have an open dialogue, telling him where you want to go, where you see yourself in the next 3 years, what are your goals for this year, having those different connects and those different touch points to align with that. So then when you come back around to have those one-on-ones, it's like, hey, you remember when we said this, that, then you can really touch those different points and look forward to those promotions and stuff of that nature. So I think it's very important, one, to make you feel comfortable, and two, to propel your career.
Nice. Shaheda, Mike, either one.
Yeah. Go
Okay.
ahead, Mike.
Like I said, reaching out to my boss has been amazing for me. Like, now we have an open dialogue. I can go in and talk to her about different opportunities that I see within the company. And like I said, she's been very helpful. And a lot of people have this kind of adversarial relationship with upper management. And I was one of those people who, like, I'm going to do my shift and just go home, and I try to stay out the way and try to stay as low key as possible. But once I started building a rapport with her, um, it made my job a lot easier. And like I said, she's been extremely, extremely helpful in helping guide my search as well.
Nice. Shaheda?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Having the support of your team and your managers, it helps you to, remember why you like technology and to further your education. My organization is heavy on those learning management platforms. So we have like little scores and hackathons and all of that they really encourage us to participate in. So even getting the job isn't like the end, because there's always so much more work to do while you're working and outside of work to continue learning and making yourself a candidate, which they know if they see another opening for something that they can consider you for.
Awesome. I will say for myself, I just started recently with Twilio, roughly a month in. And something that I found to be the most rewarding is being able to be a thought leader and having the opportunity to make an impact within the organization. And as Fortune mentioned, having your manager to ask you questions to allow you to provide feedback, which in a previous occupation, I didn't have that level of access that I have now to make me feel like, hey, I'm really making a difference within the organization as a whole. And I think with having that level of support, keeps you and guides you along the path, and especially when you have an organization that supports your growth, and they give you different stipends to support yourself within certifications as well, because they want to add value to you because you're adding value to the organization as a whole. Do you guys have a timeline of where you want to be within the next year or next 2 years?
The only short goal timeline, because my long goal timeline is all over the place, but my short goal timeline is, you know, next year, well, next 2 years or so, to be a senior manager at Microsoft.
Nice.
That's my closest goal right now.
Shaheda?
I am looking for my next career opportunity. I've been at my role for like a year and a half to 2 years right now, so I'm really looking for that next move up to get that mid to senior level. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Cool beans. And Mike?
Like I say right now, I'm just trying to, you know, gain some experience, hopefully become a security analyst and work my way up. I want to get where Fortune's at, so that's the plan.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Cassandra, do you want to start the question and answer now?
Sure thing, Chris. Thank you, everyone. That was a great discussion. I think in reviewing some of the questions, you all have answered quite a few already, but this will give you the opportunity to provide some additional input. One question from someone says, do you have any advice to someone who has no background in cybersecurity and already has graduated from college? Are certs the best way to go? So I'll pause there and let you all answer.
I would say yes. You'd actually be surprised how many people on your technology team don't have that cybersecurity degree. The cybersecurity degrees and stuff is like a new thing from the past maybe 5 years or so. So the majority of the people you work with will not have that cybersecurity masters or undergrad. So it's definitely okay. Just, you know, expand your knowledge in security and find what you want to do. Just make sure you can answer questions and you're willing to learn and adapt to the changes in security and all of that.
Nice. One thing I'll add, I would say understanding your discipline, and then understand the context that goes with it. So each discipline that we're all navigating in has different levels of requirements. But I feel like once you learn your direction, it can really guide you. And ICMCP offers that, which I have a PowerPoint to pull up after this question and answer, where you guys can really guide yourselves and find how to really support yourself through this process. But I think certifications are great, but understanding where you want to go and understanding what it all entails is more beneficial, because understanding how to speak to the requirements will allow you to be more valuable to the organization as a whole, versus the certification will just show that you have the know-how and you have the knowledge, but speaking to the actual the level of expectation will benefit you in the long run, in my personal opinion. Fortune, Mike?
So me personally, I'm one of those people who I have a college degree and I had no experience in cybersecurity, and like I said, I'm trying to make that switch. So I went the certification route. Like I said, I'm not where I want to be now, but also I didn't want to add any more debt to the student loans that I already had.
Hello.
So one of the things that, you know, people in the industry that I talk to are like, look, if you can get in somewhere, they're going to pay for your training. Whatever, you know, company that you start working for, they're going to pay for your training. So let them, you know, pay for furthering your education instead of trying to go out of pocket, you know, to add more, put yourself in more debt.
Mm.
So that's what I'm looking for now.
And I would say, I think if you don't want more debt, I mean, I think you have a clear answer. The only really other option you have is to really go for those certifications. So either, I mean, I recommend going back to school, but I understand everybody's situation is different. So your certifications are the best way to go in boot camps.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next question we have from the audience is, how do you transition from, I guess this is their current role in sysadmin into security roles? So if anyone have any comments to that question?
The first thing I'll say, as I just mentioned before, you have to do your due diligence of the requirements for the role you're seeking, right? Looking on LinkedIn, looking on Indeed, seeing those job requirements allow you and see how you align yourself with those skills. The NIST framework is a great framework to kind of hone in on to see where you are on the spectrum. I'll say that with you moving toward that actual occupation or career move that you want to navigate in. It's so many tools that ICMCP offers, like Cyberseek is a great tool to utilize, as well as the NIST framework, as I mentioned before, to guide you through those steps, and it lets you know where you are and the things you need to support yourself through that process. Anyone else?
Okay, well, we'll move on to the next question. Fortune, this is for you. Someone said, thank you and the panelists for your gift of time to share your insights in cybersecurity profession with us. Would you please give us the information about the Healthcare Association that you mentioned? And the next question was, how easy is it to get into Microsoft?
So the Healthcare Association I was talking about was HIMSS, which is Healthcare Information and Management System and Society, which is a really good organization. They have an Atlanta chapter, and they also have a huge national convention where about like 40,000 professionals come out. They put in a convention center within Las Vegas or Orlando. They swap every year. So that's the organization that I recommend, HIMSS. So Healthcare Information Management System and Society. And Microsoft, how to get in Microsoft, how easy is it? It's not easy. I'll be completely transparent. I actually failed to get in Microsoft twice, and I got it a third time. And other big tech companies are the same with Google and Amazon. So it's not easy. Like I mentioned earlier in the call, it's trial and error. You figure out where you're weak at or questions that you struggle on answering during those loop interviews or during those technical interviews, and you just try to identify your weak areas, and then you redo it again and try to get sharper in them. So when those questions come around again for those upcoming interviews, you're hopefully to be successful and go on to the next round or get that job offer. So it's pretty tough. You just have to prepare yourself and be prepared.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, since cybersecurity is such a broad field, how do you go about finding your niche within the field?
I would say research. I think that's one of the main things I did before I even got into the field. I did research, and then hopefully, if you get the opportunity to get that job opportunity, let's say you get a job opportunity on entry level to be like a risk analyst in the GRC, and then you like what the incident response team is doing or penetration team. So if you're already internal, then you just ask those team members, hey, or ask your manager, can I shadow them? Try to get that experience just to see what that's about. Shadow those pen testers or those incident response people or those engineers. If you're already on the GRC side or vice versa, just try a shadow and see what interests you or what you like or enjoy doing the most.
One thing I'll say is joining the ICMCP mentorship program and shadowing program to allow them to meet professionals and guide them on a course of how to navigate themselves. And I mentioned also Cyberseek as well as the NIST framework. Utilizing the tools that these professional organizations have to offer, as well as your personal organization, to help you to navigate through your career field.
Yeah, I would also agree. Internships and shadowing people and just trying things out, because cybersecurity is really broad, and maybe also look into the data aspects of it too. A lot of security is through the data aspects. So just try things out and explore and do your research and shadow people to see what their jobs are like and talk to them and see maybe if that's something that would interest you.
I also utilize that, as Fortune mentioned before, about utilizing LinkedIn. I know I did as well. Reach out to people. LinkedIn is your greatest resource to meet everyone who's in that career field, everyone within that path that you want to navigate to as well. So I would say just build relationships first, because that will help you in the long run in your career.
Okay, thank you. Chris, this is for you. It says, thank you, Mr. Cutts, very much for moderating this event. How did you get into IT Audit GRC as well?
Okay, great. I'll say I actually came from a retail management background, actually. So I had 9 years of retail operations management experience with the Kroger company. And I met an individual by the name of Keon Williams coming to a ISSA meeting. There, as Shaheda mentioned, doing my graduate degree, we used to go to these different meetings and just try to navigate network and navigate our career path to where we need to be, right? And he guided me on the path to GRC initially. And I had a professor as well named Robin Williams. I mean, not Robin, Robin Moore, I'm sorry. He was a professor as well as a IT auditor, and he has been very influential in my initial role with IT audit. And Keon was very, he was an awesome force for me moving back into GRC and understanding that place. So my whole focus has been around compliance and overall securing the IT infrastructure of each organization that I've worked for. So that's been my career path from all the internships that I was blessed with obtaining, as well as the career I'm at now as a security risk analyst. So I will say in the end, meeting and networking with people got me to the place I am currently right now. Even with the position with being a professor as well, like at Kennesaw, that was all about meeting people. So again, networking is the best tool you could find, and LinkedIn is your best resource, as I stated before.
Okay, thank you. The next question is for you, Michael. Someone wants to know, do you recommend the Georgia Tech boot camp? And probably why?
So it's twofold. One, so as far as cost, it was about $9,000, which for some people, very expensive. You can pay monthly on it. But for me, the real world tools that I learned, I wouldn't have learned by myself. Like I said, I looked over the material for the Security Plus certification. I do have the Security Plus certification, but as far as things that security analysts and security engineers and things do in the real world, as far as writing scripts and stuff like that, automation and security automation, stuff like that, I would have never known, through studying on my own. So like I said, it gave me a focus. It also gave me a resource. Like I said, they give you tutors that you meet with once or twice a week outside of the classroom. And that helped me a lot as well. So that type of one-on-one interaction is invaluable. Like I couldn't have done it on my own. So for me, it worked out. I feel like it was probably the best investment that I could do. For somebody else, that might not be, but you have to know your learning style. Like I said, for me, it was very hands-on, very fast-paced. So you had to do a lot of research outside of class as well. But it gave me the basics, and like I said, it gave me the resources to where if I didn't know something, I knew where to find the answer, or I had somebody to ask if I didn't know as well. So, like I said, for me, that worked. If you can find it cheaper, though, that's always better as well. Or so my friend that suggested it to me, her job paid for hers. So it didn't come out of her pocket, you know what I'm saying? So it worked out even better for her. But if your job can, sponsor you, I would say go for it.
Okay, thank you, Michael. And Chris, I will turn it over back to you now. We've got about a minute or so left before the end of the webinar. Thank you to our guest panelists again today, and it's turning it over to you.
All right, Juliana, can you pull up the PowerPoint, please? I'm not sure we have enough time, but I'll try to go through it. So yeah, guys, the benefits of ICMCP, we provide, as I mentioned before, the Cyberseek allows you to explore through different career paths, as I mentioned before during our conversation. It allows you to access, there's a skill assessment that you can take to see what skills you currently have, and they utilize the NIST framework for that. We have the engage events that we offer, like this event here, as well as we have cybersecurity training, the mentorship program, as I mentioned before, and also we have scholarship programs where you can receive SANS training and also SANS certification as well through that training. So just keep that in mind. And also connecting. I mentioned before about networking. Networking is a big part of a lot of the panelists' lives, as you heard from everyone's story. But more importantly, having that level of know-how to network. I think it's a big skill that everyone needs to have. We are the local chapter here at ICMCP Atlanta. We're looking for growing our organization. We're looking for individuals who are ready to move forward and who are dynamic within the cybersecurity space and dynamic and are new to the cybersecurity space, so we can grow our organization as a whole. If you want to join, it's free for everyone. And you can join now at www.icmcp.org. At the bottom. So there's a link there. Also, I think there's a link inside of the chat box as well to look for. Again, thank you guys. Julani, can you move to the next screen, please? Yes, thank you all again. We have a couple webinars coming up this week. Next week, that you guys can attend to get more information from everyone. This is who we are, and we're looking for great people, and we're looking to grow. With that being said, thank you all for your time, and I hope you all have an awesome, awesome week. Thank you, panelists.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Also,
Bye.
I'm on LinkedIn, so if anybody wants to add me on LinkedIn, my name is Michael Williams.
I apologize. Everyone want to hand out their LinkedIn tag.
Yeah, let me.
So I'll drop it in the chat.
Same here.
Nice.
Thank you, everyone. You all did an excellent job today. Gave a lot of valuable information out to our attendees. And as Chris has already conveyed, we welcome you to join ICMCP and become part of our local chapter. Yeah, so please get more involved.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.